take you through the Gavo Board Show as always on Saturday from
8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Exactly. So we are here, and of course, last time we talked about. First of all, I just want to welcome you, and I just thank you for keeping that SC Radio always the radio number one internet radio station. Always, what we have here today is we have a topic also today for discussion. That is how to approach conflict and indifferences. Right? We have maybe let me just ask Mildred also to say hi to the listener out there, because I'm not alone here.
Simon,
yeah.
If I can say hi to the listener, I'd like to say hi to you. Hi, Simon.
Hi. I'm doing well, like you see.
Don't take the VIP spot, it's for the listener.
Okay.
Hello to our dear listeners. Mildred, Simon's co-host. As you said, last week we had the mastery of professionalism.
Yeah.
Where we had Charles, the chief whip of the Students' Council, Uganda Matters University, and the first year student, Fred Sengwadre. But he told us he's the CEO of our charity foundation. So we have leaders amongst us. We always keep on discovering.
Exactly.
Today, I'm very excited. We have two big universities represented in the building.
Exactly.
Can you imagine?
There's a gentleman, and also we are waiting for a lady.
Just know the house is balanced. Two ladies and two gentlemen.
It wasn't like last time when we had only gentlemen, you know.
As the power woman.
And we were so glad that they had some good views of what we placed on the last time, and they were so great. Actually, how about him also, Mr. Onwen Matthew, also to talk about. He's a law student at Uganda Matters University, and hopefully, why don't you be a leader, guy? Are you a leader?
That will come in my subsequent presentation. For now, you allow me to greet the listeners out there.
Yeah.
My name is Onwen Matthew, a second year student of law at Uganda Matters University.
Okay.
I've taken part in leadership positions in different locates, including here at the university, as we shall discover later in our subsequent discussions.
All right. I want to. Mildred, how about he also talks about last time is as we are waiting for the lady also to come from Makerere University. He talks about the what?
The mastery of professionalism.
Yeah, the professionalism and leadership.
What he thinks professionalism is, and what qualities should a professional leader really have.
Yeah, we had some great ideas from last gentleman we had last time. So maybe you also can dive us into that.
First of all, and once again, I'm with Matthew. My understanding of professionalism.
Yeah.
Actually, professionalism falls within spheres of education. Like, let's not talk about vocations, but callings, like courses that we study. Let's talk of law, for example. There is professional code of conduct for lawyers. For engineers, the same thing. So I do not know in what angle people discussed the theme of professionalism. But professionalism comes hand in hand with the education that someone studied. So when you tell me about professionalism in leadership, I think that is something that is acquired along the way. Someone can become a leader even without studying that particular bit of leadership that is holding. So you are expected to conduct yourself in accordance with the way the leadership is undertaking is expected to be. Understanding of the word professionalism. Professionalism falls within different is different from that you expect in law. It's different from that you expect with the journalists. You get? So that is my understanding of the word professionalism. It is not limited to a particular field of study, but it has specifics that must be followed given the kind of study that someone will undertake.
What are some of the? Do you know some of the challenges that hinder someone's professionalism, someone's profession? Because we all want to execute in our fields and all that. So are there some of the challenges that that can hinder some of our professionalism? For example, you're taking up maybe a role in leadership or anywhere. Some of the challenges that you can tell us. Are you with me?
Very much.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the question. When you take an example in Uganda, I'll take Uganda as a case study. Uganda is affected by corruption. So if corruption is in a given setting, let's say you are a head teacher in a particular school, and in that school the board of directors are corrupt, they will want you to lead the school according to the way they feel the school should be run, but not according to the professional or ethical conduct that you attained as a teacher. Okay?
Yeah.
That is one of the factors that hinder professionalism. Another one could be, I think, personal integrity. There are people who forget about professionalism that are in line with what they studied. Then they follow what they want in life. You get? Like for teachers, you're expected not to have any relationship with a student, for example. But today you'll find very many teachers falling in love with their own students.
Yeah.
So to me, that is very unprofessional. So that goes back to someone's upbringing and so on and so forth. So professionalism is really hindered by a number of issues, but mainly those are the key things that I can talk about.
Well, you who is just listening to us on AC Radio, thank you very much. And I know you have just tapped the link. Those who can access the application, you can of course go to Google Play Store. Those who have Android phones, those who have Apple phones, we have not yet gone there. But if you have the Android phone, you can definitely go and download the app Uganda Matters University Radio, Radio, and of course you will be in position to get to us. And of course, again, when you want to submit, of course, your views, they are also needed here. We just have on our number on 0755014170. You definitely get us there. We shall read your submission on our different topics that we shall be laying for you. Uganda Matters University for you. And for the studio lines, you tap on 0758 792 050 and on 0780 679 765. Somebody here has also joined is with us in discussions that we are going to have today. Daisy Jenkins, Daisy Jenkins. I know, like last time we had Brady and more people who had their different opinions. You have something?
Well, actually, the guest last time, he triggered something. He triggered me to remember something that you said. Before these leaders should come in to take these different positions, they should get to know. They get knowledge. So he also often saying that professionalism, seeking for that knowledge, having the knowledge about something makes you qualify. Then he also brought in the ethical part of it. When we kept on drilling around the entire topic, we brought in the ethics and everything. Kept on bringing the ethical part, ethical part. So he didn't really differ from what we really shared last time. And he was in listening.
Thank you very much.
I was tuned in actually.
All right, Uganda Matters University sees that of course we have August intake, definitely knocking. We are remaining with some few months to get into there. Those who have just finished their senior 6, that senior 6, when they are done, of course you can come and apply with us on www.umu.ac.ug. You will be getting to know what course are you going to be doing and where exactly are you going to be. We have different campuses around Uganda, not around the world. I don't want to mislead someone. Around Uganda, when you go to the east,
could also be all over the world, but within the boundaries of Uganda.
All right.
Oh my God.
Yes, we have in the east you find Mbali campus, Uganda Matters University, and then when you go to the northern part, we also have Ngeta campus. Those people of who are these people? These people from North.
Actually,
the Langese and
I
all
would have
that.
to make a correction.
Okay.
For us here in Uganda Matters, you pronounce it.
When you get to Masaka, you is listening to Umwes Radio. When you also get to us, Masaka branch, we are there, and here the main branch of Nkozi University, Uganda Matters University in Nkozi, and in Kampala we also have a branch there. We shall get back for we shall just dive into the what into the topic of today. Yeah.
Welcome to Uganda Matters University Gavo Club, a place where leaders grow. We create a safe environment to build your public speaking skills with our exquisite broadcast, the Gavo Pod. Leaders get to explore and share about different insights of leadership. Don't let your passion for leadership die out, for Gavo Club is here. Join us every Monday, 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. as we share, learn, and inspire each other. Step up and lead. Gavo Club, speak, inspire, lead.
Dear listeners, from that short commercial break, well, in the first session, we had a recap from what we had discussed. So let's go direct into what we have today. To remind you, we have two guests today. We have a lady and a gentleman, both are law students, lawyers in the making. Our topic tonight is how to approach conflicts and indifferences. So we are going to know how these lawyers in the making can approach these conflicts and indifferences and help us get some strategies to solve them. We have Mr. Matthew Ongwen. Is that right?
Yes, thank you so much for
a law student, second year law student, right? Uganda Matters University. And shortly we shall be having Miss Mascarina, a law student from Makerere University, and she's also a peer educator with Richer Hand Uganda. So she'll be joining us very soon. Just caught up with a few details.
Before even we get into that big topic, it's so big. We can have some of the conflicts that we have to work on. You know, before approaching them, what kind of conflicts are we talking about, and the indifferences? Yeah, if possible.
Maybe Simon, before we can get into the kinds, what do we understand about by the term conflicts?
Exactly.
That is the first step we should take. So first of all, let's get to hear from Matthew what he understands when they say conflicts.
You know, all in leadership, right?
All in leadership
and careers and all that.
Everything.
My understanding, once again, my name is Ongwen Matthew, a law student at Uganda Matters University, second year. My understanding of the word conflict is a bit wide, but I'll narrow it in the perspective of leadership. A conflict is just a clash in ideology. How you understand an idea could be different from mine. So that creates a conflict. So most times you hear, for example, I'll talk about MPs of Uganda here. There's always a conflict in parliament. The opposition have their own ideology. An ideology is something you believe in. Then the NRM people.
Unfortunately, even the opposition nowadays we are having, it has more ideologies from different.
Yes. So that is what causes a conflict.
Yeah.
Yes, but in line with leadership, actually it is just a clash of ideologies.
Well, very true. It wouldn't differ from what you also had in mind. The way we see the different views we have about a given idea. Well, Miss Simon, when I put, for example, for those who are not viewing us right now, I can't demonstrate. But if I'm to give you a number 6 on a paper, I will see it as number 6. But for you,
I will see number 9.
Number 9. Yeah. But it's the same thing. It is the number, but for us we are viewing it in different angles. So most of the times we clash. Those clashes here say in ideas, the views that we have about a given opinion. However, Simon, you can also give us your idea what you think a conflict is.
You know, for me, I think a conflict sometimes, actually a conflict, it is very, 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 very bad for me when it comes to leadership. Yes, you know, it causes a lot when you're under leadership or you're taking up a certain career and you get some conflicts with maybe your workers and all that, it's really, bad. It's not good at all. Sometimes it causes it can be ideological differences, like he has said. But again, what is it bringing? It might bring, as if I'm on his side, clashes, those kind of misunderstandings and all that. Conflict is something negative.
Can I just add a little onto what you're talking about? With very tremendous respect to our CDO, the head of the army, the president's son, who was
okay.
Yes, you see, his tweets, what he writes there, he believes what the people want to hear. You get? But us who are down here, we feel offended, and therefore there is a conflict here. So that's why earlier on I told you that a conflict is just a clash of ideologies. So that's why NRM guys, when you hear them talk, they don't look at corruption anywhere in Uganda. So it is very hard for them to admit that problems are there based on their ideology. Now for us who look at things in a different perspective, we look at corruption as being alive and well in almost every sector in government. Sometime back we cracking jokes at the law faculty. I think there should be a ministry called the Ministry of Corruption, because the thing is too systemic in the leadership of Uganda.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to make an addition to what you're talking about.
It's okay. On 0755014170 is negative. By the time you get a conflict in anything you're running, or leadership, or taking up a certain career, this kind of things we are doing, or is for example, you have gotten a conflict with you and your lecturer or something. Always, I believe it calls for a tabling that any issue that is you guys both parties are not getting on to sit down and maybe work on it. Though sometimes it is someone's mistake, it is very difficult to understand me. This is my opinion, for example. I have my opinion on something, you have your opinion on something. How are we going to get it done, to get to one decision? However, you might decide to take yours. I can be like, okay, it's okay, but am I in the good faith with the text?
Just to answer, if we both have views, most of the times we bring it, and we actually bring in emotional intelligence in these things. We have to bring in our emotional intelligence to work within a conflict resolution. It is not negative, depending on how we have handled it.
Sure.
Most of the times, both our ideas are right, but we just have to sit and bring these two ideas to work together in order to maneuver the situation, right? So conflict is not inherently negative all the time. Sometimes it's helpful, especially in leadership. For now, we have presidential candidates. They all have.
I'm sorry, I didn't get it. You say conflict, sometimes it is positive.
Yes, it's not wholly negative, depending on how we handle it, how we manage it. So in leadership, both of us have the same interests. Let me say, me and you, Simon. Okay. We are coming for a given post. We all have the same interests. We have different ideas, but we all want to hit the same target. If we sit down and then we bring those two ideas, combine them together, and then we solve the situation, it's no longer conflict. Different ideas brought together to solve a given.
What about these ones that indulge, even that even bring in fights and all that? What about those ones?
I think that takes us to how we manage them.
Can I come in a little bit?
It's okay.
A conflict can result into a confrontation. I do not know which one you're talking about. Okay? So, honestly speaking, a conflict has two sides.
Okay.
One, a conflict can be bad, and a conflict can as well be good. For example, oftentimes when you hear, I'll give examples using our own leaders because we are tackling leadership.
Negative conflicts.
Looking at our opposition leaders in this country, whenever they come up to speak, you realize government responds. Sometimes when they respond positively, it may not make much visibility on the media, but underground, something positive has happened.
Okay.
Yes. So when you talk about a conflict being negative, I do not think that is right. So many places you've had conflicts, but the outcome is always positive. It is in rare occasions that conflicts will result into negativity.
Now, for example, by the time people come up and start rioting on something, meaning it has been, the difference between for example, me, a person, an individual, or a citizen, they are different. I have my own idea, and you also have an idea, of your own. Meaning, if I start to write on something, for example, the leader out there, when I start to write on something, meaning what you're putting on table is different from what I
think that would come as a result of mismanagement of the conflict.
It's a conflict, exactly.
Okay.
Things that, I think we should get into ideas. He's, I think, a law student. I think this is, you get to touch all this as you're studying. You can give us some of those strategies that you think we can use while managing conflicts.
Now, let me use the law that I studied.
No, wait. Are we still talking about these conflicts?
Yes.
We are
taking it to the point where I want to reach the point where I tell you, if a conflict is not managed well, that is when we are going to have things like demonstrations and riots. These are effects of mismanagement of the conflict. However, if a conflict is handled very well, we shall solve. It is a form of solving something. Because these are ideas. Both of us have ideas, and they are good ideas. We just have to sit down on table, bring these two ideas, find out of them working together, solve the given situation, our interest, reach a given interest. But however, if we fail to make these two work together, that's when you are going to have parties. That's when we are going to have demonstrations and riots, meaning we have mismanaged the conflict. So that takes us to a question that I had given to him. He can give us a few strategies how we can avoid those riots you're talking about and the demonstrations. Strategies of how we can manage those conflicts.
Now, one, I will begin with an example from the course that I studied. You can be given a scenario. You will say yes, it is true. Me, I will say no, it is true, and we all get the same marks. It all depends on how you present.
That is always in the university.
It depends on how you present your ideology of the matter at hand in relation to the law. So how we handle conflicts, not to escalate into confrontations and riots and whatever. One, I think it is always good for us to sit on a round table, give or lend a listening ear to the opposite party. Sit, listen to them, offer them new views, then you come to a common understanding. Unfortunately, in our country, and indeed Africa, most times when people...
I can see your
yes,
leading of the country.
Yes, I'm looking at leadership here.
You want to go,
We are looking at
Uganda.
We are looking at leadership here. That's why Africa has very many wars. Look at Congo, for example, failing to handle a conflict. When the people have a problem, you do not want to listen to them. You want them to follow yours. You don't want to sit and listen to people.
Yes.
Now, look at the way a conflict was handled in South Sudan, whereby those people came into a power sharing deal. Had it not been that way, up to now there would be still massive fights. So conflicts, when they arise, it is always advisable that leaders come together, listen to one another, then you get a common understanding of the situation at hand.
So now,
let me just give an example before you come in. You remember the last presidential election that we held at the university here, where the incumbent had an issue with his counterpart then.
Yeah.
That was Honorable. What was the name of the other?
The guy
Johannes.
Johannes. Had the university handled it in a funny way, there would be a riot at campus.
Yeah.
But they called them, sat them down,
Yeah.
had both parties, but then they drew a conclusion and we had to go for a revamp. So that's how conflicts are handled. The moment you deviate from listening to people who are in conflict, you've lost it all.
You know, this also brings me to another question. What always fails these two parties to sit down and maybe to work on a certain conflict or a certain indifference when they're taking up the journey of leadership and all that? For example, actually, for me, I believe if these things are always worked on, maybe like you've said, sitting down and all that, I think we would even be, let me also put it diverse to Uganda. We would be maybe in a happy Uganda and all that. So what are some of these, what makes people fail not to get on the same table and discuss something? You end up like you talked about, you've given an example of Congo and all that, and such countries which are still having indifferences. What is always failing them to see it? What is always hindering them to maybe to see it? I even talked about, I thought it is pride or something. Maybe you guys have different views. Some people don't want to. Some people don't want to. Some people don't want to.
To handle conflict. One is, I think, having too much entitlement to a particular position in leadership. You get? Let's give an example of a head teacher. A deputy has a very good.
I think you will get closer to the microphone. You add.
A deputy may be having a very good idea of how to run a school, but because the head teacher is the one who started the school, is the head, he runs every sector of the school. He doesn't listen to any new idea. He feels he's the one who hatched the idea of starting the school, and so he knows each and everything that is best for the school. Okay, so having personal entitlement to something. You talk of power. When you're talking about leadership at a national level, you've heard of the president who overstaying power. I don't want to do So, personal entitlement. Then also the interests that a person derives from that position.
Yeah.
Like now, let's assume the position you hold in a company, for example, where we all work. For you're entitled to medical allowance, you're entitled to accommodation allowance,
time,
and so on and so forth. But your juniors or your subordinates here, the only entitlement they have is salary. You get? And there are sectors of the company that are failing because of poor funding.
That is injustice.
Yes, because of poor funding. So when these people come up with their ideas that I think we should cut off part of your budget to cater for a particular sector of the organization or company, for you, because it is going to affect you, you refuse to sit down and listen to people. So such small things usually cause how do we pronounce that? Okay, increase conflict. So you get to
you wanted to say escalate.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So in most cases, those are the things that result into a conflict getting beyond hand.
Maybe you wanted to say something, did you?
You may think he has been very kind, and I'll be unkind.
It's okay, please be unkind.
I would connect everything he has said to greed. Greed and pride. What you say? Greed.
I wanted to say it in Uganda so that it sounds better.
Yes.
You know, when you say such words in English, people might think it is something small. So if it is greed, it's really something, polite. You can say omululu. Yes.
To make it feel that heavy weight. May think it's greed, because if most of the time these people fail to come into a common understanding, because they all want to get it, they only want to get the result to themselves.
Yeah.
He would think that if me and Mildred will come in touch and then we solve all this, we have to share the result. if I come in power, if we are both fighting for presidents, Mildred would want me to be the vice, and then she would want me to be the president, and then she wants to be the vice, so that we share the power. So that greed, they always think they are going to share. They don't want to share the interest, the results of everything. Indeed, and then the inner competition. Here we had a listener, Madame Dorothy. She brought in the competition, inner and outside competition. Usually brings up that conflict. There is that competition within me. Simon Sagalo Cindy. So these things of us sitting on table and then no, won't work. I have to be the best. I have to be
bang that table.
Yes. Well, our dear listener should get to know that finally Madame Maska has joined us. She's in the house. You're most welcome.
Thank you. Good evening to all the listeners. My name is Nasi Karina, a law student at Makerere University and a peer educator at Chicha in Uganda.
You're most welcome. Earlier on, we were just sharing what a conflict is and how do we approach it. Like how our theme today says, how to approach a conflict and indifferences. Basically in leadership. So we got to know that a conflict most of the times are the different views that we have and different ideologies that we have. However, you can still share to us what you think a conflict is.
Usually when people hear the word conflict, they take it as a problem, a grudge, a fight or something like that. But in other words, as you guys have discussed, a conflict is actually varying ideologies, with different people, and that's something that people should get to understand, that we can harmonize these varying ideologies and bridge the gap between that conflict.
Well, thank you very much. So,
yes, she's not also different from.
Yes, we are still in the same issue.
No students.
That's why today we have.
You could think we never had a conversation.
Well, we actually didn't have a conversation prior to this.
But we want to know if you're still on the same page with her, and we get to know if all your students have the same thing. So you guys come in to mediate most of the times. We take it like you create the pace. You're one of the people who bring in that pace and help us overcome the conflicts, right?
Actually, for us, we're problem solvers.
Yes. There is that mediation that you always bring in. So this goes, the same question that I gave to Matthew is going to go to Rina to let her share with us a few strategies that she thinks can help in resolving a given conflict.
She has a lot of questions here she has to talk about.
Well, some of the ways we can resolve conflicts, first of all, we have to have empathy. Empathy. Fit in that person's shoes. Yes, there is a conflict. You have varying ideologies, but fit in their shoes. Look at the problem in their perspective. What do they see and what do you see, and come to harmonize that. Away from empathy, I feel like communication is a big key to solving conflict.
Communication within you.
Yes, between the conflicting parties. Communication is very, very key. I feel like if these people sit down and have a conversation, then it would sort of bridge the gap when it comes to a conflict, because usually people, when there is a conflict, you see that they tend to pull ropes, like, I don't agree with you, I can't sit down on a round table with you and have a conversation. But actually, you find that the solution is going to come from that sit-down conversation that you could have with that person. So I feel like empathy and communication could be very key in solving conflicts.
Well, before we get to it, Simon, have you had a life experience of a real conflict?
And how did you manage?
Wow, an interesting question. Well, I think life is filled with conflicts. We can never have the same ideology with people. There will always be that conflicting part. Even when the ideology is the same, there is a slight difference where we shall conflict a bit. So, trying to think of a real life experience. Wow. Oh, I do have one. had a conflict with my parents, basically. So I had to redo my senior 6, and I didn't want to redo.
Have you ever heard of this saying? I'm going to say it in Uganda. How did you find it?
Oh
Yes.
So yeah. So the thing was, I actually knew I had to redo senior 6, but you know the feeling of my peers are going to campus, I'm moving on, and then I have to go back 1 year. It felt so hurtful. I was like, can't we find other ways? But the parents were like, no, you have to redo this and see a way forward, you know, with redoing the senior 6. So, like I said, communication is key. When we had that sit-down conversation of, we know you can do better. You just need this 1 year. Make things happen. You can even go for the course that you want. And I really wanted law, but with given the current situation, I didn't have the points to make me do law. So with that sit down, I came to understand that actually when I go back and reset myself and look at the bigger picture of me getting to do my law course, then I came to harmonize with my parents that it's okay, I can go back. The fact that they were ready to support me, that was good enough for me. And with that sit down conversation, everything was literally solved. So I think communication is a very, very big thing that we can use to solve conflict. When you sit down and have a conversation, definitely you can find a way out of that conflict.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Can I just add something? Yes, something small.
Just one.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the addition. Now, conflict, we've been discussing it in terms of interpersonal, intergroups, and whatnot. But conflict, you can also have conflict.
Me myself.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
They call it conflict of interest. You have two things to handle.
I feel like showering. I want to go to the beach.
Yes, that's also conflict.
So that also depends on you, the leader. How do you handle conflict of interest? Here is a situation where, for example, you've not paid your workers, but at the same time, you have food in the store. Ask yourself, should I give them food as they wait for the salary, or the food has to be eaten from the place of work as they wait for the salary? You get it? So that is conflict of interest.
I think that one is something small you can.
Not really small.
Really not something
Not really small.
small.
Really?
Not
I can see some everyone wants.
Have you heard of people who resign without giving reasons?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
I have resigned.
That is unethical. That is just unethical. You have to write something.
Basically,
those are
actually,
conflicts
that's
of interest.
something people do not look at, or something that people don't give attention. Intrapersonal conflict, conflict within yourself. Now that's quite like I said, interpersonal or interorganizational or intergroup conflicts are very easy to handle because literally you different people, you can sit down, have a conversation, find ways. But this is within you.
Yeah.
You have to sit down yourself, speak to yourself.
Okay,
that's one of the hardest things.
Literally, for me, if I
oneself.
decide to do something like this, I have no any conflict. I'm telling you.
I don't. There is that one time in
one
life.
day you had to conflict with
Yes.
yourself.
I usually love using local examples. Let's use my gender. You know it very well. You have two girls and you're having a conflict on who to go with there.
No, exactly, it's a man to a man attack.
To approach a conflict and indifferences, we have Masika Rina, who is a law student. You're still a student, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I see. You're still a law student at Makerere University and also doubles as the peer educator at Reach. And we have credible information coming from people. We also have Mr. Onwen Matthew, and this is a law student here at Uganda Matters University. I wish you're a leader. You're not supposed to be an influencer.
Yeah.
Be a leader. Stand up.
Sometimes
We have both
It has
elections.
intrapersonal conflict.
Sometimes you don't need to stand out to
make
tell
a
people
difference.
that I'm actually a leader. By the time they choose me to come here,
You have to show up.
no, I'm
No, wait, let's just get back. to take you through. Thank you for listening to UMOSC Radio as always on Saturday from 8 to 9. Unfortunately today, actually, is it unfortunate or fortunate? Or unfortunate or fortunate? Because we are having some more 10 minutes. It is already time because of we had some issues here and there. Thank you for keeping it to UMOSC Radio as always. Like I've told you, we have two guests in the building who are sharing their own ideas on the topic that we are having today. So special topic.
How to
talking
approach.
about we are still in leadership, and in leadership of course we face conflicts and indifferences. How are you really approaching them? They have even told us that we have even intrapersonal. I had no idea about, because for me, I know when I decide on something, that is it. Nobody's going to tell me nothing, so I have no idea about, you people have just told me. Maybe I'll just observe myself. I might be having some intrapersonal issues. Yeah, let's get into what we have today is how to approach conflict and indifferences. Before Rina came in, we talked about this kind of conflicts. We looked so much into Uganda leadership as our student here. He told us about he was talking about the different conflicts and then what it results into some dangers. That was me. I said, a conflict for me it is negative. That was me. But he came up and he was like, sometimes these conflicts are, and then someone is like, we shouldn't buy because you have no money. We buy an AC. I give you my reasons why we should buy an AC, and you also give me your own reasons why we shouldn't buy it. But they are all positive, stuff. Yes. He's telling me not to buy an AC because we have no money. The money which we have at hand is maybe to do something positive. I'm saying we buy an AC because we can be here and we are hot. You get what I'm saying? Yes. So they are positive. But what we need to do, and what he has something like of that kind, we can get into a solution, one solution. However, me, I was again, distant from their answers, from their opinions. I'm like, because you might decide on something, but
someone is not happy with it.
I might be not happy with it. I'm not talking about me, but there's some outside person I'm talking about. I'm talking on his or her behalf. So what about you? What are you talking about that exact thing? I think after that we shall
said. I think it's socialism, where we mind the happiness of the majority.
Okay.
So the minority are sort of left out as long as the majority are happy. It's sort of a democracy. Yes, we have a conflict, we sit at a round table and have this conversation and come to an agreement. But let's assume we are 10 and 2 are not happy about the agreement. Okay. Definitely would go with the 8.
I see how you're giving me the 2.
But we have to know that sometimes we can't solve these conflicts to the rock bottom. But have we, is there a leverage we've put? Have we leveraged this conflict to make it to sort of neutralize its dangers? Are its dangers neutralized with the 8 agreeing and the 2 disagreeing? I feel like that's okay. We can go with that as long as we neutralize the dangers. Besides, we can never make everyone happy.
I know.
You see? Simon, I told you conflict can't be wholly negative.
Wait, before we go, wait, you mean if something is causing causing pain to me just because you guys are taking the majority?
You see, Simon,
what about me?
In ethics,
it is causing pain to me.
In ethics, we have a principle called utilitarianism. You take the majority over the minority. Yes.
But also, as I said with him, there are situations where
he's on my side
on this particular matter.
Okay.
There are situations where you can actually side with the few. There are moments when you really see the majority are doing something wrong, which makes them happy. I'll give an example of Sebei sub-region. Those people were doing FJ and unit and flow, right?
Yes.
Majority of them were happy with it, but a few were not, and they had a valid point. Okay, so there are moments when, you're faced with a conflict, but you side with a few who have meaningful reason.
A valid reason.
Yes.
Let us wait for 2026 general elections.
Anyway, we have Madame Meredith listening in from Stamlab
Thank you
Jericho,
very
and
much.
she has given her ideas about conflict.
Okay.
This she's given 5 points where there is difference in ideas and how we see things. Then she has different perspectives. She's summarizing everything, what she thinks the conflict is. Then different personalities. Then she has competitions both inner and outside. What I said, that competition within us. That was Then poor communication. She said communication, good communication can be one of the strategies to solve. Then she further says one of the strategies she gives, alternative dispute resolution. I think you can help me with that. ADR. Alternative dispute
I'll give
resolution.
it in the most simple way,
Layman's
so that every
language.
lay person gets to understand.
Okay.
Alternative dispute resolution. How you handle a conflict outside court. It is as simple as that.
Yeah. So
And
basically, with alternative dispute resolution, we don't have judges, but usually the parties choose someone, like say a mediator, technical terms an arbitrator, to help them solve the conflict. So they sit before this person who they think is neutral, and they tell him or her their conflict, and then this person will help them come to a conclusion or a solution.
Okay.
Since you're really running out of time, she still sides with Simon, and she says majority
I
can
have my
also
people.
err. However, what I think we are having a conflict depends on the perspective, I think, in which we are viewing this. So I think since we're running out of time, we should get into the indifference part.
Exactly, yes.
What are indifferences?
What are indifferences and how to approach
And
this?
how to approach these indifferences? I think we should start with Matthew.
It's okay.
Let's start with the guest.
You're my guest.
I'm not a guest.
Decided, they don't know whether to go this way or go this way. They are just in space. They're mediocres, they're ever in the middle, they don't have a decision to make. You know, and when indifferences come in, they do hinder the quality of service that leaders give, because this person is basically indecisive, so he's not going to deliver what he is actually meant to deliver as a leader. So indifferences, how to overcome indifferences, I feel like people should basically look through themselves to overcome indifferences, because they're mostly on a personal level. Indifferences are mostly on a personal level, though they do come with interpersonal levels. So I feel like with indifferences, this still communication does come in. If you notice that this person is having a lot of mediocrity in whatever they do, you can sit them down and talk to them. Hey, what's up? Like, you know, why do you think you can't make a choice to be on this side? And usually people are undecided. You can ask someone, if we have an election and you're like, between this candidate and this candidate, who would you choose? And they'll tell you, I don't know.
They are there.
There are very many. So I feel like indifference is more of mediocrity, basically.
Okay. So Matthew?
No, thank you. Now, to me, I think I will not delve much into what my able learning friend has already talked about. Yes, I'll just add on what she has talked about. Indifferences, you've seen it in so many instances. I'll talk about our parliament. You've heard of invalid votes. Yes, when they are with us down here, they appeal to us to vote for them. When they go there, they invalidate people's votes. You get? So
Are you sure of what you're talking about?
yes, you can go to the Hansards of Parliament. yes, you can pick those records of parliamentarians failing to make a decision. You're given a chance to vote, but you go and invalidate a vote. You get it? Yes, that is an indifference. So how do you handle this? One,
I think now that one gets to someone.
if I realize I have such kind of a thing in me,
Yeah.
I think it is better I reach out to someone to help. That's why we have counselors. There are people who study counseling and whatever. They are there. So seeking guidance is one valid point for you. Yeah, to take. Two, people who have indifferences. Yes, people who have indifferences, usually they show in terms of conduct and whatnot. So if you notice someone is exhibiting signs of an indifference, you can reach out to them. You talk to them, they'll usually open up. So when they open up, you talk to them, and you would have solved such a problem.
But I think the best way you can, I think,
some people are not approachable. You know that. Some people are not approachable.
For as long
No.
for as long as you're a human being, you are approachable. The way you're approached is the one that matters. The approach is what matters, but you are approachable. It's like you telling me that there are certain problems that we can't solve. For as long as it was caused by a human being, it can be undone by a human being. It is as simple as that.
But what I'm trying to pick from what they have shared, so today we are going to use very many Uganda terms. This is the Chirumira Ndridi, they are saying. Today I said with Matthew and then partly with Rina. I'm there.
This time
Rina
you've not been on my side.
Anyway, but I think what she's trying to say is that these people usually show signs. What sign when you're saying they are usually not, and they are not approachable? These people are usually approachable because they don't want to show a side. When Matthew comes, I'm friendly to Matthew. When Rina comes, I'm friendly with Matthew. I'm friendly with Rina. You get. So when you come to approach these people, if you want to know their side, come and approach them with one side and make sure they stick to that one side.
Okay.
And also the best way to approach such people, you've heard of a very common saying that set a thief to catch a thief. So you pick a person who has been in such a situation to go and talk to that person.
Alright, thank you very much. It's just 13 minutes past 9. Some good time has passed. But anyway, I just thank you very much for your contribution for this great topic that we've had, that how to approach conflict and indifferences. And I hope you who is out there, you have gotten something. We are not here for fun. We just here, we are teaching you something. They are teaching you something. For example, those who we have just come up with the panelists. We have Masika, Rina, thank you very much, and then Mr. Onwin, Matthew. However, Masika, you've had some little time. Can she share something also about professionalism and then conclude this thing?
I think
Professionalism
when
in
it
leadership.
comes to
Yes.
professionalism in terms or in regards to leadership, it comes back to someone's personality. Charity begins at home.
Yeah.
So by the time someone comes up as a leader, they definitely have the qualities of a leader. However, the aspect of professionalism still comes in of how or in their growth as a leader, who has mentored them.
Okay.
Mentorship does matter when it comes to leadership. If these people have gone through mentorship, then I believe they can drive the aspect of professionalism to the top. But usually when someone has not been mentored and they basically groomed themselves, they've not had someone of experience give them a touch of magic.
Not someone to just come up out of the blue and then boom, they come before even being taught about something where they are going into. That is also good.
So that's why usually even the leaders have patrons. We have the guild, but we have the vice chancellor, or we have the guild council, something like that, the deans. So these people are here to guide these leaders.
Yeah.
So I feel like when the mentorship is there, and if it's likely to put.
Then I'm done with you.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
So when it comes to conflict, yes, conflicts will always be there.
Okay.
but the best ways to overcome these conflicts is good communication. So it comes back to communication skills.
Thank you very much, Mr. Owen.
Basing on what we've been discussing, the best to me, the best approach to handling conflicts is a round table talk.
Round the table talk. Mildred.
So, no, I can summarize everything they have said.
Exactly.
When I'm to pick out the strategies they have given us, active listening, first of all. Active listening. We all have to listen to each other. Communication. And then the empathy. I won't leave out the empathy part of it. Put yourself in one's shoes as you're approaching all this. As Maya Katalekeka, allow me wish my cousin a happy birthday. And then to let you know, all members who want to join the Cover Club usually meet Monday, 5 p.m. in the LLB3. Don't miss out.
Can I just give an appeal to the people out there?
Do you want to say something?
Just briefly. Thank you. There's an upcoming law dinner organized by the Law Society. So I really appeal to the public out there. It is not a thing for law students only. Anyone who studies at the university, they can pay. It is at a fee of only 100.
Even if I'm not a law student.
For as long as you are a student.
Okay. Always on Saturday from 8 to 9 always. Unfortunately today we have had some extension because of small issues. But thank you very much. Have a good night.